Loma Linda, 1050 AM, 106.5 FM, and now 102.3 FM.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of the Real Men of Real Estate, hosted by me, Thomas F. Chappelle Jr. Here today, I have one of my very, very special guests, one of my many mentors that I've had in this real estate space. Guy is well known here in Southern California with his signature shirt, the Hawaiian shirt. Mr. Bill Tan, how are you doing today, Mr. Tan?
Fine, thank you, Thomas. Signature shirt, huh?
It's signature. Everybody knows who you are. So for those who don't know who you are here and abroad, let them get a chance to meet you. Who are you?
I'm Bill Tan. I'm from San Diego. I'm a real estate note investor and educator and have been for over 30 years.
Okay, so
I also run a real estate club.
really, and what's the name of the club?
We call it LA-RIA. It's the Los Angeles Real Estate Investors Association.
And how long the club's been around?
That club has been around now for 11 years. I've been running real estate clubs now for over 30 years.
Wow. And how are you enjoying the clubs doing them? I mean, what's your biggest thing about doing the clubs?
Watching people grow. And I get a lot out of it because I remember things that I've forgotten.
So, how did you get started? Where did you come from as far as going from one thing to another? How did you get involved in doing real estate?
Well, I had a friend whose mother was a realtor, and when I was in my mid-20s, they would buy properties. He would fix it up, and I would help him, and then they'd resell it for more and buy another one slightly larger. And well, I'm not real big on manual labor, and I said, but this is a good way to do things, though I didn't have enough guts to pull the trigger. But later on, I took some courses, and then I bought some properties out of state, and I learned that I should have taken this one more course called property management because the tenants knew more than I did. And since it was out of state, actually it was in the Phoenix area, whenever there was a problem, I would have to get up early in the morning, take the 6 a.m. flight to Phoenix, hopefully solve that problem that day and take the 10 p.m. flight back. And after the first year, I was using this realty company to find the tenants. And after the fourth tenant, I gave up. That was in a little over 14 months. 4 tenants in 14 months.
Wow. So what did you do before you got into the real estate game?
I was, I did a lot of things. I was a computer programmer, systems analyst. I then worked for LA County as a deputy probation officer, and I was doing that and this at the same time. By the way, I sold that house in Phoenix, those houses in Phoenix, carried back the financing, and I became a seller financing because I was a don't-wanter because I didn't like traveling all that time. And then I started, I took back an IOU, a mortgage against the property, and I started receiving payments every month, and I didn't hear any more about tenants and toilets and turnover any longer. I loved it. That was really the start of my real estate career because even though I had rentals, I found that I liked notes a whole lot better.
Okay. So who inspired you? I mean, who did you learn from as far as mentors and things like that?
On the note business, I learned from a lot of people, but the one I learned from the most was a guy named John Bailey. His name is Behle, and I took a 1-week-long course on how to invest and broker real estate notes, seller finance notes. And I felt like I was just taking a sip out of a fire hose. And I did that. I got back into real estate by going to exchanger meetings. And then I got my license so that I didn't have to share my proceeds, my profits with anybody else. And I've done that ever since. And we're now, it's over 30 years. Holy cow.
What is exchanger meetings?
Exchanger meeting is where real estate professionals meet to take the profits from one property that one of their clients or themselves own and move that profit into the next property that they want for either a bigger property, and they don't have to pay taxes. So most people generally, a good example of this is Robert Kiyosaki. I was part of the group that taught Robert Kiyosaki about exchanging, and that he would sell his apartments, he'd pay all the commissions, closing costs, he'd go find another one, pay all the commissions and closing costs to buy the new one. Well, when you exchange, you take all your profits from your first property and move it into the second property. You only pay your closing costs one time, and you pay if you're using a realtor, you pay them one time, and then you get to multiply your profits without having to pay taxes.
Repeat that again, taxes.
Some of us are highly allergic to taxes, and we look for ways to minimize the taxation. So we're always studying the tax code, and whatever the government comes up with, we find ways to continue doing our business and paying as little taxes as possible. Those are taxes, we are supposed to pay. We just don't pay any more than we have to. And we look for ways to minimize it.
So most people would call it a 1031 exchange, right?
That's one aspect of it. That's using Section 1031 of the IRS tax code. One other thing that people could use is Section 121 of the IRS tax code, where they take all the profits from their personal residence and move it into the next property, or they take, if they're married, up to $500,000 profit out of the sale of their first residence and then go buy another one.
That's interesting.
They don't have to pay taxes on that $500,000, by the way.
And that's very interesting for those who might not understand how to use those tax codes. You have to check them out. And the best way to learn is that Bill Tan and quite a few others are doing these classes to teach you how to understand and utilize your options on things that you do in the real estate space. So
let me say something else.
Go ahead.
In exchanging is really a form of barter. That's what people do all the time. I give you this for that. You give me a bicycle, I'll give you a purse type thing. I did an exchange meeting at a convention one, and I just did it for the people in there. And one guy exchanged his leather jacket for boombox right there in front of everybody. Another woman, she took a truck as a down payment for her house.
Now, I understand that because I'm actually doing barter now with crypto thing. We do options. At one of the stories I heard, a gentleman came in and put a Egg McMuffin on the board, and they traded a whole lot of things just because of that Egg McMuffin. And people might say, an Egg McMuffin, no, things like that does happen. It's just something crazy. It's just an ideal, and it's just something that you don't no longer want anymore, and you want to get something new, and you just exchange it, and there's nothing, no hidden things in it. It's just exchange for an exchange. As long as the value is the same, it's no problem.
Well, a really good example would be if you bought 2 Egg McMuffins, you ate one, and you started saying, I'm going to have to watch my waistline here, so I'm not going to eat, it's in my health not to eat this other one. And they haven't eaten since the day before, and they're absolutely starving. They would be willing to give something that they value for that Egg McMuffin, because now they don't have to get in the car, they don't have to drive to wherever, they don't have to wait in line. It's there, and hopefully it's not stale.
Now, one of the things I want you to touch on is that you told a wonderful story about when you was in the juvenile system and how you helped some young men out. Would you please share that with my guest today?
Sure. When I was a probation officer, I dealt with juvenile delinquents, those who were incarcerated. That means they were locked up. And in the LA County system, if they're locked up, it's time out for them to reevaluate their lives and to learn some new skills, hopefully, and get some new habits. And then we send them back to the hood. And unfortunately, when they go back to the hood, they have their old friends, and many times they just go back to doing the same thing because of the peer pressure. But there were several kids that I would say, hey, look, you go back to your neighborhood, and if you will find me a vacant house, and if I buy it, fix it up, and sell it, And back then I would give them $500. Now the deal was not only did they have to find it for me, they had to tell all their friends to leave it alone while I was fixing up. Don't steal anything while I'm fixing up, and their friends, their homies, shall we say, were more than willing to do that because they knew there was going to be a heck of a party after I sold that property. Well, one of my kids that I sent home, and he actually wasn't even my caseload, he went home and I showed him what to do. Oh, no, this one was my caseload. He went home. He found me 3, and after he did 3, I said, "Look, you're doing such a good job. From now on, I'm going to give you $1,000 for every one you find for me." And so he kept finding more. After the 7th one, his mother called, sent a letter to the chief probation officer, and thanking me for changing her son's life, showing him that there was another way to make money other than what he'd been doing, which was selling drugs. And so we were all very happy to hear about that. And after a long period of time, though, he gave me a call and he said, "Mr. Tanner, just want to let you know that I now own 20 rental houses in Victorville, and I really like this because I don't need a gun to collect rent." And I was highly displeased. If you're live presentation, when I use different words, but I was highly displeased because at that time he had more rental properties than I did.
Well, the fact is that you helped change that kid's life. But the purpose of me asking him to explain that is because it doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter what you're doing. You can change your life for the better. And if you're not looking so much as the money aspect of it, but looking at finding the deal and building relationships, anything is achievable. So that was one of the main reasons why I wanted him to tell that story, to be able to say, "Hey, I'm sitting on the couch listening to this right now," or "I'm driving in my car and I'm listening," or maybe I'm out for a jog or I'm at the gym and I want to change my life, like most folks say, want to fire their job. As long as you take effort, like I say, Nike got the best slogan in the world, just do something. As long as you're out there doing something, the doors will open up because you will end up running into people that will help you. Right now, we're going to take a commercial break, and we'll be back more with Bill Tan. Thank you for listening to The Real Men of Real Estate.
Fire Up Connect is the most innovative business networking group, supporting and collaborating with a dozen of small businesses that are interested in building and establishing strong business connections, hosting educational live seminars while carrying out business and community-driven projects, as well as marketing programs as a part of its membership program. Fire Up Connect also offers virtual assistance with a wide range of services including inbound customer support, chat support, appointment setting and email management, graphic designing, video editing, web design and development, social media marketing, e-commerce solution, content writing and much more. For more information, head on over to www.fireupconnect.com. Fire Up Connect, helping success stories unfold every day.
The toughest part in the lending process is patience. Like I tell all my clients, once you get those keys in hand, it'll all be worth it.
Everything that they said they were going to do, they did. I saved so much money working with First Lending Solutions. I love my new house. I couldn't be happier.
So reach out to me at First Lending Solutions so I can help you get started.
You can contact Defina Miller with First Lending Solutions at 951-973-0123, definamillermortgage.com.
I love how New School is able to help me greatly with my career because they actually have experience working in the field.
The greatest thing about New School is the fact that there are so many different disciplines, which allows you to really understand and get a good insight into different types of design. And I think it's that whole changing mindset of what design can really do for a city, and this is kind of the place to be.
This environment cultivates creative thinking.
Welcome back to The Real Men of Real Estate here, hosted by me, Thomas Chappelle. I'm here with my special mentor guest, Bill Tan. We left off talking about your student that was in juvie that helped you find some properties, and you wanted to add something to that. So please.
Well, I just wanted to point out to your listeners that he found these properties just by walking around his neighborhood and maybe driving around his neighborhood. It didn't cost him any money to go out and find these leads. He just found an area that he was comfortable to walk around, and he went out and found the houses that nobody was living in.
And that's what we tell most people. That's very true. We say those who are old like us, you know, but still young at heart.
I was going to say, speak for yourself.
We used to watch a sitcom called Bewitched, and there was a nosy neighbor that was called Miss Kravitz, and we say, if you can go into a neighborhood and find you a Miss Kravitz, and the Miss Kravitz is a type of woman or a sir that's out in their yard when the sun rises or before the sun sets, and they can tell you, they're the oldest people in the neighborhood, they can tell you everything you want to know. You can say, hey, me and my family go to the church on the corner. We want to relocate. My kids go to the school down the street, and they will tell you everything they know about the neighborhood, because a lot of people don't talk to them that much, and they just want to talk. And then before you end the conversation, you can say, hey, oh, by the way, do you know anyone that's selling? They'll point you right to that individual. So it's not hard building relationships. You just got to be able to just take a step forward and open up your mouth and let the words come on out. Now, with all the things that you've done in real estate, who was some of the people that really inspired you to get you into real estate? I know we've spoken about them before.
Get into real estate?
Yeah, like, you know, as
or
far as
already in real estate and helped me.
Yeah,
which one?
Already in real estate and helping you.
I would say the people who are most influential in my real estate career are John Bailey for the notes, and my friend Wayne Palmer out of Salt Lake City area. People you would know would be Peter Fortunato out of Florida, John Schaub out of Florida, Jack Miller and Jimmy Napier. They were also out of Florida. They have passed, but their products are still available. Locally here, one person who's been very, very helpful is Bruce Norris. And so there are a lot of people. You can learn something from just about everybody who does a presentation. If you're listening, just remember that you're giving them your most valuable asset, and that's your time. So make it worthwhile if you're giving somebody your time.
That's very true. Now with Jack Miller, Jimmy Napier, the Pete Fortunatos of the world, the Bruce Norrises, even Bill Cook, you know, all these individuals that I've been exposed to because of all the different meetings that I have attended here in Southern California, you know, and these gentlemen, they come from all over, and they are getting to the point where they're getting older, but they love teaching the wisdom and knowledge that they have in real estate. And because that I attach myself to a person like Bill Tan and others, I got to know a lot in this industry when it came to doing real estate and how to be able to structure the deals that I make. And you just had Bill Cook on your meeting a couple of weeks ago, and the one thing he was talking about was options. Could you go into that a little bit, please?
Certainly. An option is a unilateral agreement between two people. And I can give you a very good example. I just helped put a deal together, was it 2 days ago? Yeah, just 2 days ago, and helped put a deal together in San Diego. The seller wanted and needed to sell his property, and my student wanted to buy it, and he couldn't figure out how to buy this property because the guy says, look, I'm willing to finance the sale of this property. He was willing to be the bank, but he says, I cannot be paid off in less than 5 years. I can't, for tax reasons, I cannot be paid off at all. And my student was going, you know, I don't think we could, because of the new lending laws, I don't know how to do this. And so I pointed out the best way to protect your seller is to ask him, okay, how long does he need? He can't sell it he can't sell this property in less than 5 years. But, how long would it be when he would definitely want to sell it? Well, he thinks he'd be completely retired in between 5 and 8 years. I said, well, what we will do is we will set up this, that my student will lease that property from the owner with the right to make any improvements to the property, and he will lease it for a term of 30 years and at a fixed rent amount today. And we're going to give my student an option to buy the property, and the exercise cannot be exercised. We chose 6 years. Cannot be exercised before 6 years, so that the seller is saying, look, I want to sell this property. I probably want to sell this property, but I'm going to give you the right to buy this property, and you cannot buy it until after 6 years have passed. And talking with the seller further, he says, I don't want to wait more than at most 10 years to be able to have sold the property and to be receiving the income from the financing. So we agreed that the option to my client, my student, would be for the years 6 through 10. He had an opportunity to buy the property for a set price today, and setting up the seller financing today, my student would give him $100,000 as option consideration that the seller doesn't have to claim as income until my student decides to either buy the property, let go of the option, say I don't want this property anymore, or the option expires. Until that point, the man has $100,000 to play with and doesn't have to tell the IRS he has it. And then when my student decides to buy it, at which time he chooses to buy it, then he can I got lost there. Then he can exercise his option. At that point, the seller will then finance the sale for 30 years, and they will have already set up what the financing will be and what the payment will be today. And the seller is now happy. It's off his mind. It's not weighing on his mind any longer. A couple benefits to the seller. While my student owns the property, he still owns the property. He is now a housing provider. Don't use the term landlord anymore. Housing provider, and then he has tax benefits for being a housing provider. And so he has income that is taxed differently than regular income from the lease. He has option consideration of $100,000 that he doesn't have to claim yet. And he doesn't have to worry about this property anymore. It's out of his hands, because it's up to my student if he wants to buy the property or not buy the property. It's no longer up to the seller. To my student, okay, he gets a fixed monthly payment as if it was seller financing for the period of time during until he exercises his option. We have a lease for 30 years, so he can write it off as if it is his property.
Okay.
Most people don't understand that. He'll have all the write-ups as if he's a buyer of that property in addition.
Correct.
Now, don't believe a word I just said. Go talk to your tax advisor.
And these are the things that we learn when we have these. That's why we have these necessary meetings, because you get to learn how to be able to do real estate in a way where it will benefit you as well as the seller at the same time. There's a lot of different ways, as we used to say, to skin a cat, and here's the options to do that. You just got to know what's actually going to benefit you. And the reason for us to have these meetings is to give you guys that are listening the opportunities to change your life, to better yourself, and that's just what it takes to do that. So we want to make sure that you understand that's why we provide this show for you, that you can hear the different things that we talk about and come to our meetings. We're non-sales meetings, so we're not asking for money. We just want your brain, because we want to help you out to better yourself. So
let me add something here.
Go for it.
When we're when you have your show and when I have my meetings and when you have your meeting, I like to tell people that you're not a real estate investor, you're not this, that, or the other. What you want to be is a problem solver. And the quality of your life will be determined by the quality of the problems you solve, not the number of the problems you solve. So when you go talk to people about if they're selling their house, they have a problem. And if you can get them to tell you what that problem is and work with them to solve their problems, you can make money in this business or any other business.
I couldn't say it no better than that. I really appreciate that. It's nice to know that we have a mandate, and the mandate is to help each other out. We are created for each other. We're here to solve each other's problems, and I appreciate that.
And these problems have to help everybody. It has to be a win-win-win. Win for you, win for me, and win for anybody else involved.
It's not going to work if you're looking at the money and just getting greedy. You know, that's why the Bible talks about the love of money. It's not about money. It's about us helping each other, especially through the times that we go through. One of the signature things that you are very known of is the financial calculator and your financial calculator class. Can we talk about that?
Okay. I've been teaching a class for people, and I call it my Real Estate Finance 101 class. It's how to do creative financing, how to structure deals, and it's the first one, 101, starts off with and 102 start off with how to use the financial calculator. And most people think there's nothing to use in a financial calculator until they actually get into it. Like the other night, I taught a free hands-on workshop, and I had people on the call from New Jersey to, did I have somebody from Hawaii? I had from East to West Coast, for sure on that, and showed them things about how to use the financial calculator. If you don't know by the way, what aspects of your life revolve around financing? I ask that at every presentation I do. And people say, well, you buy your house, you get a mortgage. Yes. Well, if you buy your car, you get a car loan. Most people get a car loan.
Yes.
How about your phone? Phones are so expensive now, people finance those.
Yes.
Student debt. Students have to finance their education. Their financing touches every aspect of your life, and most people don't understand that when you buy a car and they say it's only $100 down and $100 a month, that they're financing, and then you're paying rent on the loan amount that you don't put up yourself.
We're going to put you on a pause right there. We need to take another commercial break. We'll come back and more here explain that. Thank you for listening to The Real Men of Real Estate.
Connect is the most innovative business networking group, supporting and collaborating with a dozen of small businesses that are interested in building and establishing strong business connections, hosting educational live seminars while carrying out business and community-driven projects, as well as marketing programs as a part of its membership program. FireUp Connect also offers virtual assistance with a wide range of services including inbound customer support, chat support, appointment setting and email management, graphic designing, video editing, web design and development, social media marketing, e-commerce solution, content writing and much more. For more information, head on over to www.fireupconnect.com. FireUp Connect, helping success stories unfold every day.
The toughest part in the lending process is patience. Like I tell all my clients, once you get those keys in hand, it'll all be worth it.
Everything that they said they were going to do, they did. I saved so much money working with First Lending Solutions. I love my new house. I couldn't be happier.
So reach out to me at First Lending Solutions so I can help you get started.
You can contact Dafina Miller with First Lending Solutions at 951-973-0123, DafinaMillerMortgage.com.
I love how new school is able to help me greatly with my career
because they actually have experience working in the field. The greatest thing about new school is the fact that there are so many different disciplines, which allows you to really understand and get a good insight into different types of design. And I think it's that whole changing mindset of what design can really do for a city, and this is kind of the place to be.
This environment cultivates creative thinking.
Welcome back to the Real Men of Real Estate. Thank you. We're going to continue with our special guest, Bill Tan. As you said earlier, you were speaking about the financial calculator. Could you continue with that, please?
Well, I was talking about the fact that financing touches everyone's life. And if you finance the purchase of anything, be it a car, a house, or anything, credit cards.
Jewelry.
You're borrowing money and then you're repaying it back, and what you're repaying back, you're paying what you owe plus interest. So because I say you're paying back what you owe, so I say you're just renting that money for a period of time, and you're paying rent on that money until you pay it all back. I don't know if anybody's ever looked at it, but if you make the minimum payment on a credit card purchase, you'll be paying for somewhere between 22 to 27 years on whatever you had just bought to that point. And I want people to realize how much money they spend on rent/interest on the financing in their life. Most people have no clue until they take my financial calculator class.
Now, with that class, it consists of what?
I give people a handout, and they have to buy an app. I recommend they use the HB10B2 app. You can put it on any of your devices. I recommend the one by a company called In a Day Development. That's inadaydevelopment.com. And if you get it for your iPhone or your Android, it's about $6, $5.99. If you get it for your Windows computer, it's $13.99. But if you put it on your phone, you'll have it with you everywhere you go. And then you can check the financing. One of my students, friend of yours, took my class the very next day. He and his then girlfriend, now wife, went to lease a car, and he said they saved over $400 due to understanding the financial calculator, having taken my class the day before. I'm still waiting for my commission, Stephen.
So in the class,
and it's an all-day class. It's not just a couple-hour thing. I do a free hands-on workshop, which is supposed to last an hour and a half. The other night it went a whole lot longer, but that's another story. No, mine's an all-day class. I tell people to get a good night's rest because it's brain strain. It's things you've never thought about. It's an experiential class. It's not me talking, you listening. No, I give you exercises, and you work the exercises, and you work exercises all day long on how to calculate a mortgage payment or a loan payment, any kind of loan payment, how many months in it, how many months are in the loan, the interest rate, calculate the interest rate, how much you will owe after so many payments. Go through all those all day long, and if you're interested, then we touch on things like note investing and how to determine how to value a note, just barely to calculate the value of the note, not all the aspects of going into valuing a note. How to determine what an annuity is. An annuity would be an insurance policy. How to discount cash flows, which are payments on a note. By the way, notes, mortgages can be purchased. And it's done all the time. It's just not in a market that most people are aware of.
Okay, so for somebody like me coming in for the first time, and I'm not sure if this is something I would want to do, what would encourage me to want to do a note or do the financial calculator?
Well, understand that whenever you do anything in life, you have to build a foundation. You have to learn the very basics of what it is. If somebody wants to invest in real estate, I go take a real estate finance class, take what are basics for real estate agents. just learn the basics, learn the terminology, because every specialty has its own language. And the financial calculator is one, because you need to be able to figure out the numbers. I gave you some techniques and strategies earlier about options. It doesn't work if you don't understand how to figure out the numbers after you've figured out the techniques or the strategy. So I tell somebody, take your basic courses on how to, and you can go get these basic courses at your local community college. You can pay for them online. They don't cost that much. First off, before you do any of that, go to your local library and see if they have those books. Real Estate Principles. That's the course I was thinking of. And they have books on that in your local library. And guess what the price is for that? Folks, that's free. And if you're willing to spend just a half hour or 1 hour every day in quiet time, just reading or listening to something educational, and if you do it just on one subject in 1 year, you'll be an expert in just that one subject.
Now, let's say, for instance, we have audio books, and
I listen to them all the time. I listened to one on the way here today.
That's the best thing to do because I'm dyslexic, so I'm definitely going to listen. But the thing is that when you come to the real estate clubs and we give ideals to people of how to get started, we give them books and titles and whatnot. What is some of your favorite books that you read or listen to the most?
Well, some of them aren't even real estate related. I think everybody should start off with The Richest Man in Babylon.
Excellent choice.
The Richest Man in Babylon by, I believe his name is George Clayson. How to Win Friends and Influence People. I can't remember his name, but that one's as old as the hills and twice as dusty. Think and Grow Rich.
Of course.
Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Yes.
There's a book by A.D. Kessler, Fortune at Your Feet. Wonderful book. A friend of mine, David Finkel, wrote a great book, and I can't remember the name. I think it's How to Start Off with like $5,000 and grow it into real estate. It is that one and A.D. Kessler, two of the best real estate books for beginners, I think, on the market. Now, the A.D. Kessler will take you from A to Z. It'll take you even into talking about exchanging. And there are others. For notes, How to Sell Your Property Fast, that was the initial version, or I believe the next one is Owner Financing. Same author, Bill Broadbent. That was one of the better books on notes. There was one by, author was from West Covina here. It's a red book, about real estate note investing. I can't think of it right now. Oh, and Jimmy Napier's book,
of course,
Invest in Debt.
Course.
That's a very good book to start in note investing.
The one things that actually got with me was the Richest Man in Babylon.
And what was the lesson? Let's share with the listeners. What was the lesson that you got out of that one?
The lesson is to me wasn't looking at getting rich quick. It's a process, and the process is not cutting corners. Go directly straight ahead. Don't look to the left. Don't look to the right. Stay the course, because sometimes when you miss things, or sometimes you want to go ahead and get there faster than the way it's taking because it's taking so long, that's when the mistakes come into play. And then a lot of times you don't learn from the mistakes, because we all going to make mistakes, but learning that it's patience, because you can't do things the way everybody do it. You have to do it the way it best fits you. And the thing of it is that somebody can tell me all day, this is the route to go. But if I'm impatient, or if I'm not understanding, or I want to get there quick because I have a need, I'm not going to get there. I'm not going to do it the correct way. I'm going to do a lot of missed things, and then I'm going to get upset, and then I'm going to be ready to quit. Then I'm going to be mad at everybody and things like that. So understand that these things are to strengthen you and not kill you. You know what I'm saying? And it takes a time, and it will definitely happen. It's just not going to happen at your time. It's going to happen.
Wow, I didn't get that out of that book. That's pretty good.
Well, that's from a different perspective, though.
I got what I got out of that book is pay yourself first, and don't spend what you save. That pay yourself first. Pay 10% of what you make to yourself first, and don't touch that. You can start investing it later, but don't touch that initially, and grow that, and then invest in safe investments. And by the way, the book is by George Coates, C-O-A-T-S, and I believe it's Safe Trusted Investing in California. Safe word may be incorrect, but Trusted Investments in California. And it has techniques and aspects of it that are applicable all over the country, whether it's using trust deeds or mortgages or contracts for deed.
Yeah, so that was the reason why I got out of it, because I had a need. I needed money quick. That was the reason why.
Well, you brought up, that's a very good point, because when people come to our meetings, number one question is, how can I make $1 million next month?
Exactly.
Without any, I don't have any money, I don't have education, and if you have any great leads, would you give them to me, please? Sometimes they don't even say please. And I tell them, you're in the wrong business. They've been sold something by somebody else. This is a get rich slow. There's businesses that can get rich fast. Flipping, some people have gotten rich fast. That's a business. That's not real estate investing.
Yeah, so that's you got to understand, different people have different mentalities and whatnot. So, yeah, I came in for just not to learn, but I got a need, and I want to make money quick because I had all these needs that I needed to take care of, but I had to learn the other way. We're going to be back. We're getting ready to take a last commercial break and do more with Mr. Tan. So once again, thank you for listening to Real Men of Real Estate.
Connect is the most innovative business networking group, supporting and collaborating with a dozen of small businesses that are interested in building and establishing strong business connections, hosting educational live seminars while carrying out business and community-driven projects, as well as marketing programs as a part of its membership program. FireUp Connect also offers virtual assistance with a wide range of services, including inbound customer support, chat support, appointment setting and email management, graphic designing, video editing, web design and development, social media marketing, e-commerce solution, content writing, and much more. For more information, head on over to www.fireupconnect.com. FireUp Connect, helping success stories unfold every day.
The toughest part in the lending process is patience. Like I tell all my clients, once you get those keys in hand, it'll all be worth it.
Everything that they said they were going to do, they did. I saved so much money working with First Lending Solutions. I love my new house. I couldn't be happier.
So reach out to me at First Lending Solutions so I can help you get started.
You can contact Defina Miller with First Lending Solutions at 951-973-0123, definamillermortgage.com.
I love how New School is able to help me greatly with my career because they actually have experience working in the field. The greatest thing about New School is the fact that there are so many different disciplines, which allows you to really understand and get a good insight into different types of design. And I think it's that whole changing mindset of what design can really do for a city, and this is kind of the place to be.
This environment cultivates creative thinking.
Welcome back to the Real Men of Real Estate, hosted by me, Thomas F. Chappelle Jr., my special guest mentor here, Mr. Bill Tan. Bill, right before we get ready to go, I just want to thank you once again for taking the time out to share your thoughts and feelings in doing this with me. It's been an experience, but also it's overjoyed because one of my mentors, people that I trust and believe in, and making sure I go down the right path in this industry. And I just want to give you honors for that.
Thank you.
So before we close this thing here, how is it that if people want to get in contact with you and learn from you and take and soak in your wisdom, how can they do that?
Well, they can talk to me, or they can attend my real estate club meetings. They can take some of my classes. My contact information is bill at billtaninvestments.com. That's BILLTANINVESTS.com. Or my phone number is 626-898-5466. That's 626-898-5466. Website is billtaninvestments.com. Or you can contact my real estate, get to me through my real estate club, LA RIA, Los Angeles Real Estate Investors Association. Google LAREIA, and we're the very first. And right now we just have a meetup site. Hopefully, crossing the fingers, within the next couple of weeks, we will have our website up, which will be LAREA.club. LAREA.club.
And what day is your club, your meeting?
My club meets on the second Wednesday of every month. Our next meeting will be next month, May 11th. But we meet on the second Wednesday of every month, and some days we have extra meetings.
And what time does it start?
It starts at 5:30 p.m. Pacific, and we have the first part is just networking between the people who have gotten there, and then we expose them to our local vendors who we've checked into. A little bit of education, and then we bring on a presenter. The presenter does their presentation, at the end of which there's a Q&A and an after-meeting meeting. If anybody comes to our meeting, I strongly urge that they plan on staying after meeting for the after-meeting meeting, because that's where I believe, one, the lessons of the presenter gets reinforced, and people who have challenges that they need help with get help.
And what does the after-meeting meeting consist of besides reiterating what the speaker or the guests were speaking about?
Well, anybody who stays on, I guess not. Anybody who stays on for the after-meeting meeting, I individually call upon them and ask them what one thing did they get out of tonight's presentation. And it makes them think, because if they walk away with at least one idea that they got out of the presentation, it was a good meeting. It was a good meeting. And I ask each and every person that. It doesn't matter if everybody has the same thing, as long as they say they found one thing. But you'll find that different people are hearing different things at different part of the presentation because of where they are in life. And then other people go, I forgot about that. And then after that, we go into the help mode and say, does anybody have any questions? Does anybody need any help?
And to
these meetings last longer sometimes.
Well, yours doesn't too. But to reiterate that's what these clubs are all about. They just here to network, as we say in this industry. Your network is your net worth. The more people you network with, is the better off you will be able to find what you're looking for. The best thing, like what Pete Fortunato say, is what is it?
You want to develop allies.
Yes. So that's basically what we do here at these meetings. His meeting is the second Wednesday of the month. My meeting is the third Wednesday of the month. It's called Black Inland Empire Real Estate Investment Club. You can find me on Meetup, LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, also Instagram. I had to think about that.
Why is it called Black?
Well, because I'm a black guy who's hosting it, and I like controversy, so I just want
you
to be
allow
different.
Tan guys there.
Yeah, I allow 10 guys there. I just want to be a little bit different because there's so many different real estate investment clubs out there, and I want people to say, well, what's different about this club, and want to say, I got to find out because of the of your logo and what it's associated. The club was created for minorities to give them a platform to showcase their talent, to deal with people that look like them, walk like them, and talk like them. Because most meetings, people are more intimidated because they feel like they don't have the right criteria to stick and stay. And I'm just giving the opportunity for a lot of people. There's nothing different from anything else. The clubs I associate with are non-sales clubs. So therefore, like I said, we don't want your money. We want your brain. You can get in contact with me by email at thomaschappelle33@yahoo.com, THOMAS, C like Charles, H like Harry, A like Apple, P like Paul, P like Paul, E like Edward, L like Larry, 33@yahoo.com, or you can contact me, area code 404-844-1828. Once again, that's area code 404-844-1828. It is a very special day. For me, I really enjoyed myself, and I hope you guys got something out of it. Reach out to me just to let me know how well I'm doing or what do I need to change and things like that. Otherwise, you guys have a very, very rest of your evening and day. Is there anything you want to add?
You need to tell people that your meetings are free.
Oh, of course my meetings are free.
Okay, my meetings are also free right now.
Exactly.
Mine are not going to be free in the near future, but your meetings are free, and they should take that into consideration.
Yes, thank you.
You're getting a lot of value
and
for free.
And we are virtual at this point. My whole calendar is full, so we are virtual. Next year, we'll do both virtual as well as live. So, yes, I appreciate you, Tannen, bringing that to light. Is there anything you want to add before we go?
I think that people should realize that, if they're willing to make the effort to educate themselves, that they can do well in whatever they choose, as long as they stick to it. The biggest challenge I see is when people keep hopping from one to another, thinking that they can get rich quick. And so when that ends badly for everybody.
It does. It really does.
But they can go to our meetings, and they can learn something every day, which can help their future.
Exactly. The more you put into it, the more you get out of it. Well said. Well said. So, got more time to just talk. I mean, I don't know what else to say at this point. Right now I'm looking for words, so somebody help me out. Go ahead and say something for me real quick.
Well, you do a wonderful job. This is a good show. People can listen to it in their car. They can also, can't they get this online?
They get it online.
How can they do that?
Basically go to the radio station, KCAA radio.com, to listen right now. And also you can look a couple of days on YouTube and Roku, look for The Real Men of Real Estate, and you'll be able to find it. So I think it's my time right now, so we will go ahead and end the program. You guys have a wonderful day, and check me out next month. Thank you very much for listening to The Real Men of Real Estate. Goodbye.
This segment is sponsored by PressPrint, Southern California's best full-service union printer and mail house. They offer the lowest prices around with unmatched service and reliability and free delivery throughout SoCal. PressPrint can